my gosh, there was like a town council in Britain that like got into a brawl at their meeting.
Oh, wow.
Okay, we're on now.
Okay.
Hey, Rob.
Not together, we're on.
Relax.
Hi, Rob.
Hi, Rob.
Hi, Rob.
All signed.
Thank you. Okay, the link has been posted on.
About a minute and a half.
Seven.
The 7 p.m. work session meeting is now called to order. Can I get a roll call of the Township Committee?
Yes, Madam Mayor. Mr. Bostrom?
Here.
Mr. Madigan?
Here.
Mr. Melchiong?
Here.
Mr. Shanley?
Here.
Mayor Rubenstein?
Here. And can I get the open work session statement, please?
Absolutely. Please take notice that in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-6 et sec, and in consideration of Executive Order Number 103 issued by Governor Murphy on March 9, 2020, declaring a state of emergency in the state of New Jersey, the Township Committee of the Township of Wykoff does hereby notify the public that to protect the health, safety, and welfare of our citizens while ensuring the continued functioning of government, this meeting of the Township Committee of the Township of Wykoff, scheduled for 7 p.m. Tuesday, February 23, 2021, at Wykoff Town Hall, 340 Franklin Avenue, Wykoff, New Jersey, 07481, will be live streamed via the Township of Wykoff's YouTube channel. And members of the public may call 201-891-7000, extension 222, should they wish to provide public comment during the public comment period. Members of the public may also email their public comments to wykoffclerk@wykoff-nj.com before 3 p.m. on the day of the meeting. These comments will be read at the meeting during the public comment period. These measures are implemented to allow members of the public to observe the meeting via live streaming and to provide to the public the ability to comment before the meeting through written comments, as well as during the period for public comment, which appears on the agenda for the meeting. This notice and agenda have been posted on the front door of Town Hall, facing Franklin Avenue, and on the Township's homepage, wykoff-nj.com, at the quick link for minutes and agendas on Friday, February 19, 2021. Please select Township Committee and locate the date of the meeting to view documents such as resolutions and ordinances which would otherwise be made available. General instructions regarding access to the meeting will be posted on the Wykoff website's homepage at wykoff-nj.com as a news item on Friday, February 19, 2021 by 4:30 p.m. To view the Township Committee meeting via live stream, please access the YouTube link, which will be posted on the Wykoff website's homepage at wykoff-nj.com as a news item immediately prior to the commencement of the meeting at approximately 6:55 p.m. on February 23, 2021. To be notified of all future live stream Township meetings, please create a YouTube account and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Township of Wykoff. In the event the YouTube platform modifies its connectivity protocols and does not announce these critical changes again in the future, instructions on how to view each meeting via Zoom technology will be posted at the news section of the Township's homepage, whitegulf-nj.com, before 7:10 p.m. This second method is provided to ensure the continuity of government when platforms which the Township does not control establish unannounced changes, and will only be utilized if it is not possible to conduct the meeting via live stream on YouTube. As a precaution for this Plan B, the following instructions are provided. Please locate the link posted on the news item announcing the Township Committee meeting on the homepage of our website, and use this link for the February 23rd, 2021 meeting set to begin at 7 p.m. This regular work session meeting of the Whitehall Township Committee is now in session. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting appears on our annual schedule of meetings. A copy of said annual schedule has been posted on the bulletin board in Memorial Town Hall. A copy has been filed with the municipal clerk, as well as the Record, the Richmond News, and the North Jersey Herald and News, all newspapers having a general circulation throughout the Township of Whitehall. At least 48 hours prior to this meeting, the agenda thereof was similarly posted, filed, and emailed to said newspapers. The agenda with the resolutions and ordinances to be considered was posted on the Township's website at Minutes and Agendas on the Friday prior to this meeting.
Thank you, Nancy. And can I confirm that all of the Finance Committee documents and vouchers have been reviewed and signed?
They have. Thank you.
Thank you. And were there any public comments received today?
None received via email.
Okay, great. Can I get a motion to open the 10-minute public comment period?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. 10-minute public comment period, 2 minutes per speaker for public comment on any governmental issue that a member of the public feels may be of concern to the residents of the Township of Whitehall. Nancy, can we
We
vote?
have a roll call. Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mr. Melchiong?
Yes.
Mr. Shanley?
Yes.
Mayor Rubenstein?
Yes. Now is the time to please call 201-891-7000, extension 222, if you wish to make a comment. And again, that number is 201-891-7000, extension 222. Hearing no one, can I get a motion to close the public comment?
Motion to
period?
close.
Second.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mr. Melchiong?
Yes.
Mr. Shanley?
Yes.
Mayor Rubenstein?
Yes. And Bob, can I get a review of the 8 p.m. business meeting agenda?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. The agenda as submitted and posted on the web with the resolutions on Friday, February 19th remains unchanged. We have distributed resolution number 152 this evening. That is a resolution which was listed on the agenda. It will be considered separately after the vote on the consent agenda. That resolution allows or authorizes a sewer connection through a side yard. The Township Committee's policy is that it is an environmental benefit to connect as many homes to the sanitary sewer system as possible. Consistent with the Township's best practices, an agreement will be recorded and drafted by Mr. Landell, which in perpetuity makes the owner and all future owners responsible for the sewer lateral through both lots into the sewer main in the right-of-way. We also have a second resolution for adding to the agenda. That's 153. That's on your desk this evening. That resolution authorizes the tax collector to bill the annual sewer service for 2001. I would like to point out that we do have a resolution which authorizes the Bergen County Community Development Block Grant program, which approves the grant agreement, and I'll be filing 3 copies of that grant agreement tomorrow. That allows us to move forward with that. This grant must be completed by June 30th, 2021, so there's a very short period for completion. I'd also like to point out that as a way of a reminder, We have on the 8 o'clock agenda 2 authorizations for advertised competitive sealed biddings. We are the lead agency, which means we do all the work for the Wolf Shared Service Consortium, which is Wyckoff, Oakland, and Franklin Lakes. In 2020, we bid out 112 items of fire equipment gear. We had 9 bidders. 37% of those 112 items were at 2019 cost or lower. Our challenge this year is to do better than that, and we also do better, meaning obtain a greater percentage of prices that are at 2020 price or lower. We also will be advertising turnout gear. We specify a specific level of protection for our firefighters, and it's a process where we verify the receipt so that we don't receive a lower level of gear protection. These are an awful lot of details, but those are the details that make a difference. So that's the agenda. Again, after the consent agenda, there'll be 1 resolution considered separately. And I'll be happy to take any questions you may have on the agenda.
Thank you. And any PAIs?
Yes, I have a couple if I can. Thank you. I'd like to compliment Mr. Landell, our township attorney. He was able to obtain a 6-month extension for our Bergen County Open Space Grant. That's a $900,000 grant, which will be used for purchase a portion or the significant portion of the Maple Lake property. I'd also like to indicate that Mr. Landell will report regarding the planning board process. I also would like to recommend to the governing body, we've been working on a computerized program which tracks building permit activity. The value is that it allows residents and builders and engineers to log on and check the dates of submissions of their documents, check on the date of reviews, any deficiencies so they can be corrected, approvals. It allows this scheduling of inspectors. When the inspectors perform an inspection, that inspection status will be logged. And this will help residents by advising them exactly when their plans were submitted. There will be a net cost after the first year, which is a transition year, of $17,500. We do have the option of increasing the building permit fees to pay for this convenient system. The program generates a number of reminders which are very helpful, such as a reminder to schedule final inspections. It allows folks to look into the database to see if there's an oil tank present. But it allows the applicants and or their agents to view the status of prior approval. I'm bringing this up tonight because I would like to get started on it. There's a considerable time requirement to have this performed. There's a fair amount of back office work, such as transferring all the existing computer history into the new form. And the plan is to start as soon as we can and have it fully functional and launched by October 1. I just want to point out to you, since the building department deals with large size documents, specifically large plans, an application will not be considered filed until the plan to those large documents are filed. The program has a reminder to the applicant that their application is not submitted until all documents are submitted. And another value is that the inspectors will be able to put their notes of their inspections in real time on this database, so that it's meant to be helpful to residents, builders, engineers, applicants, etc. So I would like to look to the governing body if they have any questions. I've been speaking with Mr. Boonstra, who's the liaison to that office. And
Yeah, Bob, if I may, Mayor, if I may chime in here. I attended a little tutorial, if you will, on this new program with Bob and Cindy Rizou and Tom Gensheimer several weeks ago. And it replaces a kind of an obsolete system, which isn't serving us very well and has not afforded answers to questions over the last, especially year, that everyone seems to be looking for from downstairs. This new system should facilitate that in an online way and help organize things better. And I think it's for $17,500 net cost. I recommend that we go ahead with it. There's like I said, there's an existing system which will be phased out, and the net then will be $17,500. I think it will add to the smooth working and responsiveness to residents from the building department.
Thank you. So what I would ask the governing body for an authorization to move forward with this program. Or I'm happy to answer any other questions about it.
Yeah, Bob, thank you for doing the work on this. I think it's a tremendous thing to do because there have been so many complaints about the building department and responses to the permits. I think this will help tremendously. So thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
Bob, do you want a motion on this, or you just a?
If anybody, as long as there isn't any objections articulated, I would like to move forward with them.
I mean, I'm totally in favor of it. Again, serves the public and serves everybody, helps with efficiency. Thanks for the initiative.
Now, you've discussed this at budget as well, in the budget committee?
Yeah, that's what I just have a question on. So we've discussed it in the context of the budget for this year. So do we need to vote on it as well, or do we vote on it as part of our budget?
It would be part of the budget, so it would be authorized. What I'm trying to do is to get it implemented and useful to the residents maybe a month sooner. A month sooner, because once we move forward with it, I have to prod the contractor, the vendor, to get it implemented.
When would the contractor be able to get it implemented, approximately?
I think a realistic timeframe, Tim, is in the fall, possibly
Okay.
October 1. The amount of back office work of transferring the files, and there's also a queue of customers already in front of us.
But if they bring the system on, the new permits that are requested, like say the pool permits that are going to be coming in the spring, will they be able to be on first so that we won't have the backlog of the pool permits like we did last year?
No,
No.
what we're looking to do is to treat all the permits equally.
Okay.
Equally. The pool permits, some of the complaints that were given to us were because revisions weren't made by the owner's professionals and weren't submitted on time, and the residents thought that the application was full and complete. Having this system will show the date it was thorough and complete and submitted.
Right.
But not until October 1st.
But not
We're not
until
starting
October,
this system until
No.
approximately
So,
October
okay.
1st.
There's an awful
So,
lot of back office work that has to be
Okay.
done
All right. Very good.
to get it moving. And I'm just trying to
Understood.
move it along as soon as I can.
No, I
mean,
just
it's
need
certainly
an
our-
understanding of it.
it's certainly our intention to have it included in this year's budget. So, and I think it's a system that's definitely needed, and it'll provide some continuity between contractors, residents, and the building department. And I think that's where some of our disconnect has been.
Right.
So I'm not sure if we need a motion on this, but I think all of us are seemingly in favor of this, moving forward with it. And as I said, we plan on including it in the budget.
It's very clear to me that consensus agrees to move forward.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like the
Yeah.
report.
I think all five of
And-
us.
And Tim, I just need for the record to point out that there are certain permits that have multiple technical reviews and technical
Right.
inspections. I wish it was a lot easier to say one inspector could review all the technical trades, but the way the state requires us to work, The only person who can review and inspect plumbing is the plumbing subcode.
Right.
The only one is the electrical subcode. And because we're a small town, we don't staff everybody 5 days a week, 7 hours a day.
Right.
We have folks working part-time. And that's why the state gives 21 working days to complete a building permit. So when you have an application where you have 5 technical reviews, it might take the 21 days.
Okay.
And that's actually what I learned in our budget committee in the last few days, that the pool permit process is 5 different layers of
Right.
permits. So it's just a lot more involved than renovating your kitchen or something like that.
And
So-
the only reason I brought it up, that's where we got a lot of complaints last spring.
Well, and we were
this summer.
also completely shut down by the state for 2 months last spring. So that's where a lot of the backlog came in, that we had to come back in and make up 2 months of permitting that was completely lost. So last summer, we did have some delays, but it shouldn't be the same this summer.
Okay.
Well, the other thing too is, I think it's very important, particularly when we brought up pools, because I received a couple of complaints last year. Until I looked into it, I didn't realize that, never let the facts get in the way of a good story. Because first thing you have to do when you put a pool permit is, you have to have your property fully assessed and engineered for wastewater storm management. So until that gets approved, then you go through the permitting process. But at the same time, there was a great demand for pools. Most of the pool permits were submitted by pool companies, and there was just tons of incomplete information, and they didn't get back, and I'm not saying all of them, but it got complicated. And then when they're dealing with their clients, they're telling them we're holding them up because they're trying to stretch it out. So it should be a big help, make sure that he said, she said, we said, and I think it's a great initiative.
Well, and maybe now that we're heading into March and sort of the time of year that people start thinking about this, maybe we should do a PSA on just specifically pool permitting. What levels you have to go through in order to
Long
get your pool
process.
permitted. Because, if I'm just learning about this, I would assume that most of the public has no idea what you need to go through to get a pool permit. But I think a PSA might help people, even though the pool companies are supposed to handle it,
Right.
it would help people to stay on top of it and call their pool company rather than calling the building department.
So it's a good idea.
That's a good point.
That is a good idea.
And I don't mean to belabor this, but I need to point out one important thing. A lot of these inspections and reviews are set up to safeguard the adjacent homeowners. So if you're an adjacent homeowner and the person putting in the pool is uphill from you, you're very happy that there's a 0% runoff inspection and review done by the town engineer. If it's the purpose of the inspection and the review is for a public purpose for the adjacent neighbors, as well as added value for the resident, that an inspector is checking the plan for safety and accuracy and compliance with codes.
And I would
So-
include in that, what you have to go through for tree removal in terms of the pool process, and just kind of everything soup to nuts about putting in a pool in your home. Because I do think a lot of people are going to want to do that again this year.
I'd agree, because last year when I was the mayor, I got a lot of those complaints from a lot of residents who were unhappy that it was the end of the summer and they still haven't had their pool permit approved. So, anyway.
But I
Okay.
think, yeah, if we can put that together, I think it would be really, really helpful for the residents.
I can whip that up.
And just any fees that would go along with it as well, and just a timeline. Because we want people to be realistic about their expectations on what the timeline is of putting in a pool.
Right.
I think last year, after things opened up in May, people thought that they could pull permits and put in a pool that summer.
thought, yeah, they-
And it just,
Right, it didn't
that's not the
happen.
timeline of putting in a
And
pool.
that's when I got all those complaints.
Right, exactly. So I think this will be helpful.
Okay, thank you. Madam Mayor, I have one other item. I just
Sure.
want to point out that the property that the township purchased at 240 Denver West Avenue, the DPW is moving forward with the removal of that your structure, and I just wanted to get that on the record that we're moving forward with that as an improvement.
Great.
And that area will serve as a emergency vehicle or DPW or fire or a turnaround area.
Wonderful, thank
Because that's a
you.
one-lane road there. That's all I have.
Sure. Reports of the Township Committee. Tim, you want to start?
Sure, I'll be brief. The rec board met last night by Zoom. They approved the lacrosse coaches, they approved the softball coaches, they approved the U8 travel baseball coaches, because they had already, in prior meetings, done the other age brackets. And that was basically it. It was a good meeting, and fully attended. They reported on the rec basketball. They said it's been a very successful rec basketball season for the rec program. Only one missed game. They had 3, but 2 of them were made up, and they were allowed to let some of the parents in for the 5th, 6th grade and up. They didn't get to let the parents in for the younger ones, but they're working on it. Because Murphy is allowing parents of the children in to see the games now, any basketball games from youth to all the way up through high school. So we'll see. But the season is coming to an end. They're in the playoffs now. And that's the end. That's all I have to report on.
Okay, quick question.
Sure.
The plow that's being donated to the town, do we know when, for the plowing of the turf field, do we know when that's expected for
No,
delivery?
I reported at the last meeting is they've decided instead that they would use field turf to plow it.
Oh, okay.
And I think they
Sorry.
spent almost like $20,000, and then we got all these storms after that.
Right.
So I'm not so sure. I mean, they did get rid of a large amount of that snow, which would have just been blocks of ice now. So the storms that we hadn't been the 18-inch, 20-inch type. So hopefully this week it'll
Fingers
melt.
crossed,
It'll
because
melt.
our kids are starting on those fields in 3 weeks.
Yes, true, true.
Took a heck of a
So
month to start
hopefully the
removing.
snow.
Yeah, because rec baseball is supposed to be starting at the end of March, beginning of
And
April.
lacrosse is starting
And
March
lacrosse, too.
15th about on
Yeah,
Pullis.
so
So hopefully the snow
It's
will be gone by
supposed
then.
to, where's the wood?
Yeah.
Knock on wood, warm up starting tomorrow, where things will be melting, and hopefully all the ice in everybody's gutters starts melting. Because right now, I can tell you, my gutters are full of like 6 inches of ice. And I'm sure just about every other house in town has that same problem too. But anyway, that's all I have to report. Thanks.
Rudy?
Thank you, Mayor. Quickly, under Parks, Bob indicated that we plan to, or the DPW plans to contract to diminish that old house at 240 Demarest. To mention, under the sewers, as Bob indicated also, we have an atypical sewer to approve tonight from 470 Massey Ave to Russell Ave. Now, that's the 470 Massey Ave is the former Madigan Chateau, just so you all know. So, but I want to, the reason I bring it up is I want to thank Mark and Bob and Nancy and anyone else who worked on this resolution 21-152 in preparing it and getting it here tonight for consideration by the Township Committee. We're moving the ball on that. There was also a minor sewer backup on Susanette Place Sunday afternoon. Planning Board approved 2 applications on Wednesday the 10th. An application at 490 Vance Ave for soil movement, landscaping, and stormwater management. It's a relatively large lot, and the existing home will be demolished with a very, very large home going up. Also, 802 Albemarle was approved. That was a soil movement permit, stormwater management, and landscaping as well. 225 Van Houten Ave was withdrawn. That's the KL application. Not sure where that's going from here. UCC, we talked about the program that we are just approved, or gave Bob the go-ahead on. I want to mention that today an online, something went on, we had a rollout for online applications for a certificate of approval for resale, smoke detector inspection for sale or rental, an application for temporary real estate signs. You can also do that online now, which is great. So thanks to Nancy and anyone else who worked on that. Wyckoff Environmental Commission met last night. It was pretty much routine. There was discussion about the electric vehicle charging station, which will be going in front of the zoning board of adjustment, the application. I don't think we have that application in yet. Team Up to Tidy Up is Saturday, April 24th. We had an award for last year's, but I'll have it at the next meeting. It's really a handsome award that we received for the Team Up to Tidy Up, done in a COVID-safe manner. Very innovative. The Shred Fest is Friday, the day before, Friday the 23rd, at Community Park, no longer at the DPW garage. We'll have a drug and medicine take back officer there with his canister as well, and possibly a styrofoam collection. I guess that's all I have. I was going to talk about the social media policy, but I'll hold off on that. Thank you.
A couple things. First of all, I'd like to congratulate Bob Shannon, who's officially a new granddad, as they say in Irish, a Gaelic baby boy for Bob. Congratulations, and all best wishes to Annie and Grandmama Jody. So it's a wonderful occasion, and I know you're going to be heading to see your new grandson in a couple of days, and just hope he doesn't grow up and have an accent like me. Budget Committee. It's in the right neighborhood, right, Bob?
He is.
The Budget Committee, Melissa and I have been meeting, we've met several times. Focus on our 2021 budget is retrenchment. The budget has many revenue challenges, and we've had several meetings, and I look forward to finalizing that with, again, the taxpayers in mind, but it's a lot of challenges based upon revenues and activities or lack of activities last year. Fire Department, I just want to thank all the volunteers of the fire department. Sometimes they don't get enough thanks. Again, with the snow and the activities and shoveling out hydrants and residents that pitched in. We've had a couple of ice drills, so they worked pretty hard, and they're all trying to be as professional as they can. They had a big online drill last night that was very, very successful. Just a quick update from what I know, and I think the mayor's going to comment more, but there's continued questions from the K-8 Board of Ed. I know many parents are questioning the safety and welfare of their students. There's been no, as the liaison to the K-8, there's no new information from the K-8 Board of Ed, and I know we've all been receiving phone calls and waiting to hear of whether or not the Board of Ed's going to be scheduling a special meeting to address these parents' concerns. They only meet once a month and aren't scheduled. They met on February 8th and not scheduled to meet again until March 15th. I think Melissa will have some more comments. And then the Flag Subcommittee met, and I think Melissa will comment on that. That's it. Thank you.
Pete?
All right, thanks. I once again want to thank our DPW, police, first responders for keeping the town safe and clean in these never-ending snowstorms that we're having. The Board of Health met last week. I was not able to attend, but I did speak with our Board of Health president, and he reported back that the state's focus is still on supplying vaccines to the super sites and regional sites through the state of New Jersey. The Board of Health is in constant contact with our Bergen County rep, with supplying us with any of the latest information. There was also talk of Ridgewood Water and the mailing that came out, and I know Ridgewood Water is going to be having 2 virtual open houses in April, and we are also trying, with the president of the Board of Health, is trying to get a one-on-one meeting with Ridgewood Water to address any concerns. And then lastly I have is I was speaking with our liaison to our seniors, Tom Madigan, and I would ask if I could form a subcommittee with Tom to see how we could possibly improve or expand on some of the senior services in town. And that's all I have.
I think that's a great idea. I don't know if we need, Bob, do we need a vote to form the subcommittee?
As long as all of you are in agreement and there's clearly a consensus, I
Sure.
think we can move forward.
Is there anyone opposed to this?
Nope.
Okay.
Thank you.
And thanks, Pete, for bringing that up. I think there's a great need among our seniors who have been pretty much isolated in their homes for the past year, now who are hopefully getting vaccinated and getting back into the community. And I'm excited to see what the subcommittee kind of comes up with to assist our senior community. Okay, so I have a few things. First, I want to talk about police subcommittee, or police committee. On February 20th at about 4 a.m., a resident of Wayfair Circle here in town reported that 3 individuals were attempting to steal his car from his driveway. He monitored through his doorbell camera, called our police. We had assistance from Franklin Lakes Police and the North Haledon Police. And while searching the immediate area, Sergeant Michael DeMeo observed fresh footprints in the snow leading towards the North Haledon border. Police officer Kevin Kevin O further observed similar footprints in the yard of a home on Annert Ave in North Haledon. Kevin O followed the footprints and found 3 suspects hiding in a creek. They were all arrested, 2 juveniles and 1 who was not a new juvenile. They were all processed and, of course, released, because that's what we do in New Jersey. So we just want to commend Kevin O and Sergeant DeMeo and really thank you for your great, basic police work, following footprints in the snow. It's awesome. So, and police department is encouraging anybody, if they see something, say something. Call our police if you see any suspicious activity. Our police will be out there and they solve crimes. So thank you to those 2 police officers. Rudy reported on the planning board, so I don't have anything to add about that. Ken, thank you to the DPW for all of their hard work, because we've had obviously snowstorm after snowstorm this year, so hopefully that's over, but thank you to the DPW. Thank you to Bob and Nancy for their PSA today about the new forms, the continuing certificate of occupancy, fire inspection, and the sign request. I've gotten so much good feedback from the real estate community. This is far ahead of what most other towns are doing, and it's much appreciated by the realtors. Saves them a lot of time and allows their clients to go right on, fill it out, and get that moving. Tom reported on the budget. The only thing I would add in the budget is that we're in a period of retrenchment with revenues down because of the pandemic. So it's a tight budget. We're still working on it, but we are being fiscally responsible in the face of not having the revenues that we've had in the past. So it's been a challenge, and I thank Diana and Bob and Tom and everyone who's worked on that so far, and we'll have an update at the next meeting. Tim and I are going to meet as part of the Water Subcommittee in anticipation of the 2 April open houses by Ridgewood Water. So we have that coming up. And as Tom said, we met as part of the Flag Subcommittee. I'm really happy to report that we're going to be flying the Women's History Month flag for March. So I think that's be a nice addition to our flagpole. The only other thing I have is, as Tom said, as liaison from the Wyckoff K-8 Board of Ed, the Township Committee issued a statement this past week, and I'm going to read this statement into the record about the situation going on at our middle school. It's a statement from the Wyckoff Township Committee. The Wyckoff Township Committee is shocked and appalled to learn of the activities alleged to have occurred at the Eisenhower Middle School. The K-8 school district and Board of Education are entirely autonomous from the Township of Wyckoff governing body. We are not and have not been privy to any non-public information and are continuing to learn details of the situation at the same time as our residents. During this time, we offer our unconditional support for our residents, especially the children, parents, and taxpayers of Wyckoff. The safety and wellness of our children, as well as transparency and proper flow of information in our community, is of utmost importance to this committee. We stand firmly with the residents of Wyckoff and are here to offer any support in any way we can. It is apparent that this situation has existed for at least the past 6 years. The district leadership during that time period had an obligation to protect the safety and welfare of the students at Eisenhower Middle School. The lack of transparency continues, and we urge the K-8 Board of Education to hold a special meeting to address the many concerns of Wyckoff parents prior to their regularly scheduled March 15th meeting, signed by all 5 of us. And I would just like to note that as of today, we haven't been informed of any special meetings that are going to take place. The next Board of Education meeting is March 15th. So again, we would urge the K-8 Board of Education to hold a special meeting to answer parents' questions and concerns that have come up over the past week. And that is all I have. Rob, do you have anything?
Yeah, a few things. I think I reported at the last meeting, the application for the Maple Lake subdivision has been filed. So we're on the agenda for March 10th before the planning board.
Great.
We've also filed with the county. Publication is going to be in the record on Friday, and notices are going out to the 2 foot property owners in Midland Park and in Wyckoff. Not sure we had to notice, because I think this could be considered a minor subdivision, but because of the magnitude of the lot and what it means to the town and how long it's been going on, I think we wanted full transparency. So we published and we sent out notice to the 2 foot property owners. As Bob reported, we've got a 6-month extension on the grant, which I think gives us a pretty good comfort level. So if we get approval in March, the resolution's adopted the next month, there's a 45-day appeal period. We've also, on a parallel track, going to the county. But I'm hopeful that we could, title work's been ordered and everything, our due diligence has already been done. So I'm hoping for a closing maybe in May.
Wow.
on the lot.
Fantastic.
Wow.
That's what I hope for, but we still have a
That's
little bit
great.
of cushion.
Big of the band.
Have you been speaking with the owners of the property about that as well? Or their attorney?
Yes,
Okay.
we got a contract.
Okay.
The contract to purchase, the closing date's 45 days after subdivision
Okay.
approval.
Right.
So it's all,
That's great.
we're coordinating it all together.
Wow,
The-
that's fantastic, Rob.
With respect to the final judgment of compliance and repose we got for our 3rd round plan, I don't know if it made it to the packet, but I prepared a written final judgment that went to Judge Padovano under the 5-day rule. So I expect to get that back signed anytime. I sent it ahead of time, even before I submitted to the court, to Fair Share, and went over the language, and it was acceptable, so I don't expect any objections
Great.
with regards to the form of the order. My office is working on an amended ordinance with respect to field use by outside groups. I think what we have on the books now is fine to enforce it, as far as Andy scheduling the use of the fields, but our ordinance can use some work, so we're just gonna tighten up.
Yes, thank you.
Great, thank you.
I also drafted an ordinance which has proposed language for the ballot for the November election with the extension of the open space tax levy.
Okay, great.
I don't think it made it to the pack, because I know it didn't, because I just sent it to Bob, I think today or yesterday. So you'll have that to look at. We've got plenty of time to get that in, but we shouldn't wait on it, because there's a deadline if we want to get the question.
Okay.
I've also my office did a memo with respect to our implementation of Daniel's Law in town. We had some questions on that, and I guess I can send that out to the entire Township Committee. I know Bob and Diana have it, but I'll send you a copy of that. And it's really how Daniel's Law works with Oprah, and specifically private information with judges or ex-judges and prosecutors that we have living in town. And the last thing is, The bracket subdivision, it seems like this one's been going on forever, but I had to wait for county approval, but I just found out we're now at the point where we have everything we need, so my office within the next week or two will prepare the deeds, the easements that the county wanted, the signed developers agreement, and we'll get that subdivision perfected, I would say, within the next month. And that's the Rose Garden property and the
Yeah.
bracket property there
Okay.
next door.
That's great. I failed to mention also, I meant to mention that on the 10th, the planning board granted a 90-day extension on the,
For bracket.
on the application,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's good.
And Rob, with the recent decision down in Trenton about the marijuana legislation, should we start to think about how that affects our ordinance that we passed last year?
I'm already on that. We
Okay.
Actually, I wasn't sure if that had been distributed yet, but I have a memo that we keep updating because there's different versions of this
Right.
bill that are, was it signed?
Yes.
Yes.
What's
It
the
was
date?
Today.
yesterday,
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yes, okay. All right, so
But
then
they sent it to a commission that's gonna set up how the sales are gonna happen, so.
But
it's
they
not-
didn't, as far as I know, they didn't dictate to the town, like, last time they did this, they dictated to the town that if there was an absence of an ordinance, then something happened, but you could override it with your own. They didn't do that this time.
I don't think so.
My understanding was, and this may be a few versions, so I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to bug my associate, I'll get you a memo, if not before the end of the week, early next week. My understanding was if you want a prohibition against a dispensary for recreational marijuana, you have to introduce that ordinance and pass that ordinance again. I'm assuming we still have the option to do that if we want to.
But if it's legal now recreationally, what standing do we have to have an ordinance against the sale?
I thought we still had the opportunity to do that, but I'll look at it.
Yeah, I
thought we
think,
just
I
had
think
to-
you have time. From what I understand, this
180 days or 90 days.
this commission that's gonna start how it's gonna be regulated, taxed, and everything, is gotta, I heard it's gonna take 6 months before there's gonna be any sales in New
And
Jersey.
I think the difference, Mayor, is the difference between possessing it and utilizing it recreationally versus the license to sell and distribute. And
Right.
I think you can prohibit that. That's my understanding. The last version I looked at said that I'd be shocked if that changed, but I've been shocked before.
And our police department is now bound by the legislation that was passed in Trenton. I assume that we can't have more stringent ordinances in town.
Not with regards to possession. You know, you're talking about the old, I think even the existing, if my understanding is that even the existing tickets from last year that they've been just kind of putting off are going to end up being dismissed.
But they
Yeah.
had some interesting takes on underage possession and usage. They were fairly liberal on that, and I'm wondering if we can have ordinances that are more stringent.
I don't think.
I don't believe
No.
we can, but.
Melissa?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually particularly interested in the language and the different versions I've heard, because I don't know what's up or not, but apparently they get into anyone under age 18, the limits of police office, the limits of stops, the limits of parties at home and so on, so maybe you could give us an update of the impact.
I know they did tie in
Particularly
underage drinking.
minor, yeah,
Yeah.
underage drinking's
Yeah.
tied in, which appeared to mean you can have a lot of house parties, but who knows?
All right.
And maybe you can give us an update on that, because we're particularly interested. We're concerned about our young people, particularly high schoolers that are 17 and 18, and, what impact this may have, within the community to alert parents and residents. There's enough challenges out there already.
Yeah,
This would be another-
from what I heard, they're not even allowed to do a search for it or notify the parents if they catch a minor with it.
Right.
Second time they notify the parents, right?
I'm not even
But
sure.
if you can give us an update,
Yep.
there's a lot, because I heard the same thing.
Yeah.
I will-
A similar thing that, there was consequences for police officers that questioned them in a certain way, or
Yep.
did anything to get them upset. All right,
Right.
thank you.
And I'm just wondering if we have any ability to pass any ordinances regarding marijuana.
Or alcohol. underage alcohol.
Is there anything in there about where the smoking can occur, in like public places or indoors, outdoors? Is that specified in the legislation? I don't know.
No, not that I
I don't
read.
believe so.
It's gonna be in there someplace. It would have to be. I don't think you'd be able to do it in public places. I mean, the other cities that have legalized it, the towns or states, you can't do it in public places, so I'll look at that too.
Okay, if there's nothing else, I'm gonna get a motion to recess the open work session.
Yeah, just, let me just add one thing. I spoke to Scott Fisher, our DPW director, and thanked him for, clearing all the snow and the hard work all his employees put forth to get rid of it, and the good job on doing it quickly. I also confirmed with him he was able to get salt delivery last week, so he's got enough salt to continue to salt the roads as needed. So I know there was concern that there was a diminished supply in the Bergen County and northern New Jersey area, but he was able to get enough, and he has enough on site in the event we have another storm. And
Don't say that.
yeah, no, I hope we don't have another storm, but I also want to say thank you for putting together the flag committee to put the women's history flag up. I think that's an appropriate and very good flag to put up. I think, I always look into the history of things, and I believe it started with Women's History Week in 1982 by President Ronald Reagan. And by the time he got to 1998, he did Women's History Month in March. So I think it's good, it took way too long to recognize Women's History Month to 1982, since women have served our history and our country very well for a lot longer than that. But I think it's appropriate for us to put that flag up to recognize Women's History Month as a very special thing to recognize. So thank you.
Thank you. And Bob, I just want to confirm, are our flags now at half-staff? Was Joe able to do that?
Yes.
Good. Yeah, just to
Yeah.
note, our flags are currently at half-staff because in tribute to the 500,000 Americans who
Correct.
have died as a result of the COVID virus.
Okay.
Okay, so motion to recess the open work session.
Motion,
Second.
Mr. Borchtra?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mr. Maffeone?
Yes.
Mr. Shanley?
yes.
Mayor Rubenstein?
Yes.
Were the flags ordered to half-staff when Jerry Cardinale died as well?
They did in Trenton.